Wilder versus Chisora, the fight we didn't know that we needed. Now, here's a question. Can Chisora survive the Bronze Bomber? Can he survive the Bronze Bomber? Because he's still one of the hardest punchers in heavyweight history. Therefore, by default, is probably the hardest puncher in the division. And this would be a great fight. Derek Chisora versus Deontay Wilder potentially will be a great fight. What would it be billed? Is it power against power? Britain versus USA? Maybe that's a bit too political. But Derek Chisora, from his perspective, I guess, you have someone who creates a minimal target. And from Derek's perspective, he's probably thinking, right, I can create a minimal target by bobbing low. I can rough him up. And I can take his heart. Because if you look at previous Deontay Wilder fights, you might come to the conclusion that, yes, this person, he can be beaten mentally. And that's not to take anything away from Deontay Wilder. Obviously, every boxer that steps in the ring has a level of mental toughness. But he was definitely unhinged in the Tyson Fury trilogy. But then you get Deontay Wilder's perspective, again, who's a former champion. And from his perspective, he's thinking, if I land the right hand, the knockout will come and this will open the doors to even bigger and better opportunities. And remember, and this is a key thing, Derek Chisora, he minimizes the target as opposed to getting away from the target with his feet. That could be a nightmare strategy against Deontay Wilder because you want to make Deontay Wilder miss. You don't want to block it. You want to make him miss because he has that type of power. Here's a question. Who is more confident? Is Deontay Wilder more confident? Is Derek Chisora more confident? And who is more vulnerable? Some would argue that Deontay Wilder is more vulnerable. Can Derek Chisora survive if he gets hit with that big right hand? Will his, that minimal style of creating a minimal target, will that backfire because of the immense strength of Deontay Wilder? Or will he simply just catch the punches and be able to return fire? Will he adopt a different strategy? Maybe he will use the step back to try and nullify Deontay's power. Will Deontay use a strategy that Lennox Lewis used against Evander Holyfield, which is when you're fighting a guy who minimizes the target, instead of aiming for the chin, you aim for the temple? So will he be able to make those adjustments? And can Derek Chisora take away Deontay Wilder's right hand? But can Deontay Wilder deal with the pressure? And when I say the pressure, I'm not just talking about the punches. I'm talking about the potential magnitude of the event. How much punch resistance does Deontay Wilder have? He took a lot of punishment against Tyson Fury. He didn't take a lot of punishments against Joseph Parker. That was more of a strategic fight. But then he was knocked out or stopped by Zhilei Zhang. And what are the motivations of both men? I feel like Derek Chisora's motivation is to leave on a high, to leave on the top of the mountain, so to speak, to have that great retirement fight. But what is Deontay Wilder's motivations? Is it financial? Is it cultural? Is it to win back the title? Is it a combination of all those things? And I think what his motivations are will determine how he approaches this fight, will determine how he trains, will determine the level of passion and commitment that he has. And you can make an argument that Derek Chisora throughout the years has made some technical improvements against Usyk, arguably one of the greatest heavyweights of all time. He made technical adjustments. He turned southpaw. He had some good counters. He got distance, or I should say he got in range to land that overhand right. And I felt that he was very effective in that fight. So you have those technical adjustments. Plus against Joe Joyce, he showed that counter right hand, particularly in round 10 when he scored the knockdown. He still minimizes the target. He bobs and weaves. There's a puzzle to be solved with Derek Chisora. And Derek has that warrior mindset. There is no fear. Or if there is fear, he controls it very well. Deontay Wilder has the power. There's no doubt about that. He has the power, but does he have the will? Does he have the will to win? Does he have the will to go through the jungle? Derek Chisora, like I said, he has that incentive to retire on a high. And Derek Chisora's punch creativity can definitely cause Deontay Wilder some serious problems. Here's some things to bear in mind. The marketing of this fight will be important, and both fighters are very good at marketing. Derek Chisora, he's good at marketing, but through his antics and through sometimes his, what some would say, inappropriate behavior. While Wilder is a good talker, Wilder did a great job. Let's be honest, in the Wilder-Tyson trilogy, they both did a great job in marketing that fight. That fight was a huge cultural event, and both need to be credited with that. And this fight has the branding. You have Derek Chisora, the warrior, the person that loves to fight, the fan-friendly fighter. And then you have Deontay Wilder, the knockout artist. So they both have credibility. They both have, Deontay Wilder has massive virality due to his knockouts. But here's another question. When we look at the setups of both fighters, who is Deontay Wilder's trainer? And will that trainer be effective? To my knowledge, he is split with Malik Scott. And if this is a different trainer, will they be able to create an optimal boxing environment so that Deontay Wilder can be the best version of himself? And I think that's an important question, because if Deontay Wilder is going to have a successful comeback, he needs to be the best version of himself. He needs to get back to what he was. Because what he is, or what he's been in his last couple of fights, has been fairly unimpressive, and it's a puzzle that's easy to solve. I felt like the Joseph Parker fight was so disappointing because he was unable or unwilling to roll the dice. He accepted defeat. He didn't take chances. He didn't, take that significant step to say, you know what, I'm losing the fight, so I'm gonna really take some risks here. And I think many people question the psychology of Deontay Wilder for a variety of reasons. Again, this doesn't mean that he's not mentally tough, and it doesn't mean that just because you might have been weaker in the past doesn't mean that you can't be stronger in the present or the future. But it might mean that you may need the right environment to harness that warrior spirit, because boxing camps are not just about technique. They're about training your mind, training your body, having the appropriate sparring, doing the right training, having the appropriate strategy for your opponent. So there's so many variables to this fight, but this fight will be exciting, and I think the public will get behind this fight. Also, the negotiation process will be important. Who is the A side? Who is the B side? Where is the venue? What will be the nuanced details? If you're Derek Chisora, would you want a bigger gloves and maybe a smaller ring or a bigger ring? There's different variables here. And of course, both fighters naturally are confident, because being a boxer, a byproduct of being a boxer, I think, is being confident. You have to be confident in your own ability. So they'll both perceive themselves to be the A side, which can be tricky when it comes to the negotiation process with regards to the economic split. But if both parties come to an agreement, then this could be a fight that can really capture the boxing public. It can capture the boxing public, but it can also capture the casual fans. So I'm hoping that this fight gets negotiated, and I think the potential for this fight is massive, whether it's the marketing and, more importantly, the actual fight.